Now plagued by wage stagnation, a growing crime rate, lack of retail needs, and other deep-rooted social injustices, these 5 prominent areas have been the focus of neighborhood revitalization efforts to no avail. Thrive, along with community partners, hope to change that by shifting the focus from the neighborhoods to empowering the residents that live there. Over the course of 3 months, Thrive's Farmer Training Program will equip participants with the necessary tools and resources needed to create their own food production system. Our format will consist of weekly classes accompanied with weekend visits to local farms and gardens for participants to apply the knowledge they learn during the week with hands-on experience. Our farmer training consultant, Rose Carabush, will help lead the charge with weekly teachings to the participants.
Frenchtown Neighborhood Improvement Association cultivates employment opportunities and becoming a resource for healthier food options. Right now, what we're doing, we're working with schools and daycares providing a healthier lunch option. We also work with farmers to provide local and fresh foods that is actually provided in that plate.
My name's Rose Carabush. I've been farming for a little over a decade now. I'm not from a farming family or anything. My parents thought I was crazy. I started working as an apprentice at some different farms in the Northeast U.S. and ended up managing a 100-acre farm there. And yeah, I really love growing, and I really love sharing my love of growing with other people. We definitely won't assume that anyone has unlimited time, money, or resources. And we're going to be focusing specifically on urban farming that could be done in our 5-member neighborhoods. So that means we're not going to be talking about tractors. We're not going to be talking about growing on 20 acres. Unfortunately, we also won't be talking about livestock other than chickens, because that's the one that is allowed in Tallahassee. So the Thrive Network is made up by community organizations from 5-member neighborhoods in Tallahassee. That's Bond, Frenchtown, Griffin Heights, Providence, and South City. And the goal is to make and retain long-term connections with community food advocates and resources to overcome food apartheid in the 5-member neighborhoods. So the network's using a USDA grant to link existing community assets and fill food systems gaps and enhance the ability for self-directed change and sustainability in each neighborhood.
The Greater Bond neighborhood is definitely high in its percentage of poverty. I believe it's about 40%. One of my visions is actually to help people in the Bond community to grow their own food in their yards, so that will help alleviate some of the systemic issues that come from living in poverty. One of the things that we have overcome in the Bond community is having more people growing. We are able to access the garden on Kissimmee Street across from Bryant's Marketplace and share with the city in growing food. We are hoping to be able to have that produce accessible and available for our neighbors. So we are, in our own tiny way, overcoming the need for more healthy food in our neighborhood. I would say one of the barriers that we face is definitely visibility. In our neighborhood, we need people who are going to, show up at people's houses, at their doors, have in-person meetings, because a lot of our folks are not necessarily connected to the World Wide Web the way we would think. And so word of mouth, door to door, is going to be instrumental in getting information to our neighbors.
I was part of the neighborhood association. I was the president for about a few years, maybe 3-4 years. At its present time, South City is a food desert, and it's been a food desert for years. A lot of times people look at the community at large and find fault. And to me, communities are not fault. It's just what they develop to be. In order for you to have something, you have to go through something. Do something simple. Put out a barrel. Move the trash. If you're going to do a garden, give it back to the people. Whatever you do in life, if you can't give it back to the people, you might as well don't do it.
I am
Ashley. Today I am excited about working with other people who are like-minded like myself, who are eager to learn about gardening, just getting my hands in the dirt and just learning everything I can. Since I was little, I was always around it, but I never was able to actually get into it. I had a health issue and I started to change my diet, which required me to eat more natural foods, and looking for natural foods and organic foods and raw foods was hard. And so me just searching online and realizing like I can actually grow these things really like made me eager to want to do it.
So today is our first class here at the garden. I should say the future garden. Today we're just going to be doing a brief introduction. We're going to go over some of the stuff we talked about in our last class, which was some basic information about sun and shade and siting and designing the garden. Of course, that goes very well with the current stage of the garden, which is just ready to break ground.
In the heart of Tallahassee, Florida, lie several communities grappling with the weight of poverty and historical neglect. Griffin Heights, Greater Vaughn, South City, Frenchtown, and Providence each bear the scars of systemic inequities, with its residents facing challenges ranging from limited access to nutritious food to economic instability. Amidst these struggles, the Thrive Network has formed a transformative training program to address the food apartheid that exists within these communities. This is done by inviting the stakeholders who experience these pain points first-handedly and equipping them with the tools needed to overcome the challenges they face. With our farmer training program, we plan to educate local residents so that they have a working knowledge of sustainable urban crop production and will gain familiarity with underutilized local farming resources. Upon the completion of the 12-week program, trainees will have the confidence and an achievable plan to grow their own food while exploring entrepreneurial ways of monetizing this new skill. To help achieve this, we have tied in key community players who have a deeper understanding of the history, the people, and its efforts to revitalize a once thriving neighborhood.
Griffin Heights is right in the middle of a food desert, so there's very little access to food in that community. We're currently working on the development of a neighborhood supermarket, but we're working progressively and aggressively with the city of Tallahassee through its Neighborhood First plan to develop the grocery store that I mentioned to you. In addition to that, we're working with Thrive in developing a community garden and training urban farmers. Actually, the advent of the development of the grocery store is probably our major accomplishment. So we've been able to purchase a space. It was formerly an old convenience store. We couldn't cost effectively remodel the business, so we had to tear it down, and we're starting from the ground up to build a new grocery store. The biggest barrier for us right now is not something that we won't be able to overcome, but the biggest impediment right now is simply the politics of it all.
Hi, my name is Kendra Badger. To start, we're in this program called Thrive's Farmers Program. It's a 12-week program where we're learning about the basics of gardening and farming on a small level and getting a touch of what it's like on the, industrial level. Today we're working on, we started removing like the grass and the dead stuff from our garden to kind of build these high rises. And now we're putting down cardboard and mulch in order to kind of make sure that no plants that we don't want, like weeds and such, or unwanted pests come into the garden. So what I've learned so far, I've learned so much. I don't know how I can like summarize it, but this group of people that I'm working with are so fascinating and they're so hands-on and knowledgeable. I've learned stuff from overwatering or underwatering, how to rotate your plants so that way they get enough sunlight, growing plants next to each other, how much distance they need from each other, or if it needs more phosphorus versus nitrogen based off of the coloring, and understanding the difference between different fertilizers.
Providence is located in a a lot of people call it a food desert. I don't like to use that term, desert. I like to use the word food apartheid. We are in an area where there's no grocery stores or fresh markets where people can get in. The only thing that we have in our neighborhood is a community garden. We have teamed up over the years with Second Harvest to do food giveaways once a month. When Providence Baptist Church was functioning, they did weekly food giveaways in the neighborhood. But the garden has always stood the test of time and has been passing out food for the last 5 or 6 years on a regular basis. I think it's really brought the community together as a community, especially the garden where people are working together one-on-one, teaching and learning from each other. It brought us together as a community as we're sharing produce on a weekly or monthly basis. People are gathering and coming to know each other. They're starting to get to know their neighbors. So it's really a coming together. This morning just passed out clean.
Our goal for Frenchtown is to see neighborhoods and community collaborate on providing healthier food options and also minimizing food deserts here in Tallahassee.
Throughout these past 3 months, we've seen students not only learn the skills necessary to cultivate and maintain urban farms, but also grow as leaders and advocates within their communities. The bonds formed in collective efforts to improve access to nutritious food have strengthened these neighborhoods. The support from partner organizations and the involvement of community leaders have been crucial in driving this change. As we conclude our venture, we're reminded that the journey doesn't end here. The lessons learned, the skills acquired, and the relationships built will continue to flourish and impact these communities for years to come. Together, we can create a world where everyone has access to nutritious food and the opportunity to thrive.